Okay.
Kenya is well known for its digital infrastructure. It's well known for its ICT acumen. So at the backbone of that is domain names. My name is Joel Karobio, the CEO of Kenya Network Information Center, KENIC. KENIC is the administrator, and we manage the country code top-level-domain.ke, which is the allocated domain name for Kenya. And it's a two-letter wording, .ke, which symbolizes our country. And our purpose is to ensure that we have a stable registry that is up and running at all times, 24/7, and ensuring that anyone who's on our namespace is then able to transact, trade, communicate within the domain namespace. Just a couple of benefits that and value proposition that .ke brings to the table is the fact that you have that unique identifier. It is accessible, it gives you optimization, and lastly, it's the pride of our country. So it's one of those domains that it's something that every Kenyan should have. It's something that you would be proud to say, I am Kenyan, I have a Kenyan domain name. We are stable, our infrastructure is good, our infrastructure is supported. We've also instituted 24-hour support, so that if there are any registrars or registrants who have any challenges, then they're able to then reach out to us. So from a stability perspective, I think we are good. We now are looking at the registry from a futuristic perspective. What is the next stage for this registry? What else can we do in terms of supporting the internet ecosystem to ensure that we grow? And our vision is to be at the top in terms of a model registry that can actually show that we have put in place security measures that actually assist anyone to feel secure when they are online. We are looking for cutting-edge innovation. We are looking for cutting-edge opportunities for us to infuse within our business to make sure that the people who are dealing with us as a domain name and are dealing with the registry feel that not only am I coming to buy a domain, but I'm coming for other services that make me understand how my presence online looks like. One of the visions of the digital economy is digitally enabled citizenry, which means we want everyone to be digitally enabled. Domain names and the online presence is one of those digitally enabled, because then you dovetail from just having a website to actually having an e-commerce site that you can trade with. So we are part of this journey in Kenya that allows for people to actually make a living out of domains. As opposed to the registry, which is KENIC dealing directly with the registrant, there's a halfway point, which is another ecosystem of people who are making money by selling domains. And we currently have about 200 of those registrars with us. So when we tick these boxes within the government saying that we are an employer of choice, and we've also created employment opportunities, KENIC ranks up there. When you want to become a registrar, we have a very simple registrar application process, which you just fill in a form. You will submit that to the office. We shall then review based on some of the questions that we've asked in that form, and then we shall give our recommendation. You must also be recognized by the Communications Authority. And we're even encouraging that registrars come from different counties. We find that our business today, a lot of our registrars are in Nairobi based. As much as we talk about being a digital economy that is borderless, we also want registrars in different counties to also register so they can serve their own communities, because they know the challenges of their communities. Currently, KENIC has about 9 extensions that we use. And depending on the kind of business or the kind of individual and what you want to do, there's an extension fee. So for example, if it's companies, we then give you the .co.ke. If you're looking to be a blogger, .me.ke, which is .me.ke. So it talks about you. If you're an NGO, you can actually do .or, which then signifies a non-profit organization. At university level, there's .ac.ke, which is for university. .sc.ke is for secondary schools. Very confident to tell each and every Kenyan that your information with Kenyan is as safe as gold. For us at Kenyan, we believe that through having a Kenyan domain name, it is that passport that you require. It is that great identifier that you have. So we are appealing that if you can, and we would want you to, is to register your own domain name, whether it's for your business or your personal interactions with people. Ensure that it's anchored on .ke.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kenik, for that brief introduction from your CEO. It's good to see, you guys are doing amazing with our domains. We are very, very happy to have the .co.ke, the .ke, I mean, yeah. So thank you very much, Vincent and the Kenik team for that brief introduction. And karibu sana. To everyone who's joined this webinar. We want to make it, we want to share as much knowledge as we can today with our amazing panelists, try to understand our security. We know in Kenya right now, security, data protection, privacy are doing, we have a lot of trends on this, so that's a good thing. We can start in a few. Just wanted to let you guys know that we are ready. We can give the attendees a few more minutes. Let's say 5 minutes. So we will start briefly at around 11:12. Yeah. Yeah, so Joe, thanks for showing us that, but there was no sound on our end. We just saw lots nails, no sound though. Okay, I guess we can start. So karibu everybody who just joined us. We are glad to have you on this discussion. We hope we can impact as much knowledge as we can today. So karibu and thank you. So this panel will run for an hour and then another 30 minutes for Q&A. And we hope you can ask as many questions as possible. We welcome everything, yeah? We welcome all the questions. Feel free to ask in regards to security. We know how well security is doing in this country in terms of, PR. There's a lot of publicity around cybersecurity, information security, data protection, domain security. How do you protect organizations against cyber attacks? So we want to be the ones to answer most of these questions as much as we can in the next 1 hour. We have a team of an amazing panel today to help us answer some of the questions that we have that we think are very, very essential to our day-to-day work, especially guys in tech. So thank you everybody, and thanks for the panelists for joining us today. We want to acknowledge the presence of the guys who hosted or created this session, which is Kenik, who are Kenik, our .ke domain providers, and we are hoping that we can do more of this. So thank you very much, Kenik, for this. And the EC Council as well. I know most of us have heard of EC Council. When you first join security, everybody tells you try doing the certified ethical hacker certification, which is provided by EC Council, a university that is very much focused on security certifications. So that's not just one of them, and we'd like to acknowledge them for being our partner on this webinar today. So without further ado, I'm gonna start by introducing some few housekeeping rules. Sorry, yeah. If you have any question, please feel free to write it in the chat. We will answer some question during the discussions, and other questions we will strive to answer at the end of the panel discussions. So write them up on the chat. You can chat the panelist himself or herself, or you can just share with everybody or with me directly, and I will ask the question for you. So yeah, feel free to do that. Always on mute, please, so that everybody can get to hear what our guys here are talking about. So unless you're talking, please mute, unmute, and let's have fun. Yeah. I will start by introducing our panelists, and then we'll have introduce the companies they work for, and then they will tell us a little bit about themselves. And for me, I would also want to know from every panelist, what's the most dangerous thing you've ever done? And don't say get the COVID vaccine, man. Please don't. Yeah. Yeah, so I would like to know at the end of this, for the introduction, what's the most dangerous thing you've done in the last 2 years when the pandemic started, yeah? And then, we can proceed with the specific topics, yeah? So this is, I'm gonna start with our very own Joseph Marwa from Kenik. He is the senior system administrator at the Kenik. There you go. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Judy.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about you, Joe, and about the company that you work for.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. As Julia said, my name is Joseph Marwa, Joe Marwa. I'm the senior system admin at Kenik. And Kenik, as she mentioned, is Kenya Network Information Center, and we are the ones who are in charge of regulating and maintaining the .ke domains and the DNS infrastructure for Kenya. So I think I will get to know and interact more in this session. I will request Judy to allow me to answer her last question at the end of the session.
You want to Google your answer at .k domain somewhere, right?
You've asked us about the most dangerous thing you've done, so I'll leave that to the end of the session.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Thank you, Karibu Sana Joe. We are glad to have you on the panel. The next person we have on the panel is Dennis Lawyer Tom. Dennis is a cybersecurity analyst at the Communication Authority of Kenya. So hi, Dennis. Kindly enable your video. There you go.
Good morning, Judy, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for finding time to join today's session. My name is Dennis Loyatum. I'm a cybersecurity analyst at Communications Authority of Kenya, the National Computer Incident Response Team Coordination Center. It's a pleasure to be here today. Just to say, the authority is the ICT regulator that includes managing cybersecurity, among other roles that it's mandated to do. And also at the national case, basically what we do is coordinate responses to cyber incidences. And I think that is what I could just mention at the moment during the panel session. And as we continue with this session, we'll be able to share more. In terms of what is the most dangerous thing I've done in the last 3 years, maybe being out past curfew. That is, I think maybe that's the most dangerous thing I've done. Not illegal. I don't want to be in trouble, but I think that is the most dangerous thing I've done. Thank you.
Okay, I see how that could be very dangerous in this Nairobi. Thank you very much, Dennis, as well. The next person we have on the panel is Alan Loala. I hope I didn't butcher that name. Alan is a cybersecurity professional at Cyber Tembo. Hi, Alan. Good, we can hear you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Alan, and the company that you work for.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan, as Judy has stated. I am a cybersecurity professional. I consult for a couple of companies, one of them being Cyber Tembo. Currently the director of business development at Global Forensic Services, where we offer cybersecurity and global and forensic services across the board. To answer Judy's question, I'll start by saying that I am what I call myself a psychologist. PCY COLOGIST. Starting with the PC, which means PC being personal computer, so basically the IT aspect. I am a psychologist by profession, so the psychologist, and I cycle. The lawyer in me allows me to always cycle. And that boils down to the most dangerous thing I've done in the recent past. Being a lawyer, tunasomanga lawyer, tunapenda kukula. So I tried out what is called the nuke challenge, where it's a burger with lots of pepper.
Oh.
And yes, it was a challenge. I don't want to say what happened after that, but I'll leave your imaginations to run.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That's very interesting. Never heard of that, Alan. Never. But thank you and welcome to the panel. And then we have our next panelist, who is Hilary Soita. I've had the pleasure of actually working with Hilary. And Hilary is an application security engineer at ICRAO Innovation Hub. Kindly, Hilary. Yeah, I can see you wiping your, yeah. We see you. Yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself, Hilary. You're on mute.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can't hear you now.
How about now? Okay, so I'm an application security analyst and engineer. I currently work at Digital Innovation Hub, where I mostly research and development, and where I usually automate stuff using languages. So the day-to-day stuff revolve around doing research on applications and web applications, discovering new vulnerabilities, finding ways of automating stuff.
So your audio is not the very best, Hilary. Yeah, it gets clear and then you disappear for a few minutes.
What about now as I'm speaking?
Yes, now it's perfect.
Sorry about that. Do I have to repeat everything?
You can make it shorter.
Yeah, so as I said, mostly it revolves around mobile application securities and web applications security. I think I've learned something, but yeah, that's me in general.
Wow, welcome to the panel, Hilary. We are glad to have you on board. And I would like to request all our panelists to have their video on so that we can know who we're talking to. All of us, please. Thank you, Joe, Alan, Dennis, and Hilary. Let's have, there you go. Good. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. So we're gonna go straight to the questions. I know there's a lot of burning curiosity around this panel and the questions that we are gonna address today. And just feel free to jump in, when you feel you have a point to add, or you don't agree or disagree with your fellow panelists. And I'm going to start with, as we started, I'm going to start with Joseph, the Senior Security Administrator at Kennick. So the question is, who is data impacts on domain name? Maybe you can let us know what who is ideally, for those who don't understand what who is domain name as well. Please give us a thread landscape, with having wrong who is, and in case someone claims to own my own domain name, how can I claim it back? We can hear you, Joe. You're on mute. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Judy, for the question. As I mentioned at first, I work for Kennick. Kennick is Kenya Network Information Center, and we're in charge of managing and regulating .k domains in Kenya. So just for the sake of who may not be aware what a domain is, a domain name is your gateway into the internet. A domain name is basically, if you say www.ca.go.k, that is a domain name, and that is your gateway to the internet, and it allows you to basically access internet resources. Just to clarify that, the domains run under what we call a DNS infrastructure, domain name service. And what the DNS infrastructure does is that it translates domain names to IP addresses. Think of it as your phone book. You cannot memorize all the phone numbers in your phone. So you save names. You save names in an easy to remember way, like let's say Judy or Hillary or Alan, for instance. So when you type, when you want to call someone, you go and search for Judy. Then you call Judy. Your phone translates that to the actual number and then allows the network, whether it's Safaricom or Airtel, to connect you to where Judy is. So it's similar to the internet, and that is what domains do. The DNS that translates names into IP addresses that then allow you to access the internet. So domains are owned by what we call registrants. And when you're registering a domain, let's say you have a company or you're starting off your own business, if you want to register judy.co.ke, for instance, you will go to a registrar and you tell them you want to register judy.co.ke, then you provide your contact information. There is a critical information that you have to provide. You have to provide your administrative contact, you have to provide your billing contact, and you also have to provide basically other information like your address and both. So that information that you provide about to be stored alongside your domain is what we call WHOIS. And WHOIS is not an acronym. It's a WHOIS, but it is not an acronym. WHOIS is basically it basically asks who is the owner of the particular domain. And there are public resources that are able to do that. And you can also go to our website. We have a tab called WHOIS. If you want to find out specific information about a domain, like who owns it, who is the registrar, who is the administrative contact, which country is the domain registered under, WHOIS information will give you all that. So why am I discussing WHOIS? Because Judy has asked me what threats are there for you having a wrong WHOIS. It's very important that you make sure that your domain has the correct WHOIS information, because this is information pertaining to your domain. If you provide the wrong WHOIS information, currently in Kenya, there is the Data Protection Act of 2019, and it is required that you provide the correct information about your domain. And the risk of you providing the wrong information implies that if your domain is used for any malicious activity, any criminal activity, and the contact information is not yours, but you're running a service on that domain, you stand at risk of being prosecuted. At the same time, if your domain expires, and or rather you went to someone to register for you the domain and then it expired, and if whoever you went to register the domain and put in their WHOIS contact information, there's no way you can claim that that domain is yours legitimately unless you provide like a business registration certificate or something. So you stand a risk of losing your domain or your brand being tarnished if you provide the wrong WHOIS information. We also have what we call domain hijacking, cybersecurity instances, where people register domains, provide the wrong information, and or rather, the most typical example would be, let's say there's a brand that is about to be launched by a company, and the name of the brand gets leaked out. Then someone goes and registers the domain. Then they put in down information. Let's say Safaricom is launching a new product, let's say Feliz, and they want the information gets leaked out. So someone goes and registers Feliza.com, and all that. By the time Safaricom wants to register the domain, the guy will just tell them the domain belongs to me, and I can only release it if you pay me this certain amount. So that is called cybersecurity. So you can see how critical it is for you to provide the right information. So again, just to double back on that question, you've asked about in case someone claims to own a domain name, how can it be claimed back? So at Kennick, we have what we call ADRP. ADRP is Advanced Domain Resolution Protocol, a policy. And it has guidelines. It's available on our website and the policies. It has guidelines on how we handle it. And if you can just allow me to share my screen so that I can put this into context. So in case there's a domain dispute and someone claims that the domain belongs to them. So this, what I'm sharing is the process of how we handle it at Kennick. So the dispute is lodged by the complainant. And what we first do is we check and verify the correction of the domain. And then we invite the two parties. Let's say I register Judy.co.ke, and then Judy comes and claims that this domain is mine, this brand is mine, and provides a business registration certificate showing that the business is legitimate and the domain belongs to them. So what we do as Kennick is we invite the parties that are involved in the particular dispute for mediation process. This is either virtual or in our offices. So there is a Kennick who is the mediator, the complainant, and the respondent. And in some scenarios, also involve the particular registrar of that domain. So after this, it's either they settle and agree. Maybe the guy, whoever owns the domain, decides to release it, or they pay, or whatever they charge the particular complainant for the domain. And then there's a settlement agreement. If there's no settlement agreement, then I will proceed to arbitration. But in a scenario where there's an agreement, then whatever agreement they've agreed, if the domain is being purchased or being released for free, then at Kenik, we facilitate the transfer of the domain name, or the domain is deleted, because there are scenarios where someone can register a domain claiming and put maybe malicious content on it. So we have to pull down the domain completely and maybe block it from being registered. We have other scenarios even with the Ministry of Health and even with some other government agencies that a domain is registered and wrong content or malicious content is put up intentionally to just tarnish the name of the specific organization. So the remedies for settlement agreement are those. So in a scenario where there's no settlement agreement between the parties, we proceed to arbitration, and as Kenik, we have recommended arbitrators that we provide the parties, the complainants who are able to support the arbitration process. So as Kenik, we do our best to support in resolution of the issue. If past arbitration there's no settlement, then they can proceed to litigation where it is taken to court and they handle it as that. But the point it gets to litigation, Kenik is not involved now. So the arbitrator and the legal representatives of the parties that are involved. But in case it is resolved at arbitration level, then the domain goes to the remedies that I've just talked about. So I believe I've answered your questions, Judy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, that was very good. I worked with you guys a few months, and I think I witnessed a scenario where somebody did that and they purchased the domain a week before the actual company was about to launch a product. And I loved the process of the arbitration and everything. Let's sit down, talk, understand your needs as a company. There was also the issues of trademark. I think this gives clarity for those who there are people in the business of just buying domain names before they can predict or know what the company will get into and purchase the domains. Yeah, so this is very clear. Thank you very much, Joe. I think we will have a bunch of questions in that regard. Even I have some questions after. So thank you very much, Joe. Then to our next panelist, Dennis from the Communication Authority of Kenya. We know that CA has been doing a lot in regards to security, especially when it comes to the threat and attack surface, traffic coming into the country and going out. So I know you guys are putting a lot of security. Maybe you can let guys know how you guys are curbing cyber attacks among DNS users. And if I'm attacked as a business or as a person, can I actually report my cases to Communication Authority of Kenya? If so, what's the process?
Thank you, Judy, and let me just thank the participants once more for joining today's call. At the authority, as I mentioned earlier, is the ICT regulator, and under these, one of its mandate is licensing of the registry, that is Kenik, and registrars. So what we have in place in the licensing framework is a licensing framework for the registrars and the registry. And under the licensing framework, in terms of what we do as authority to promote the growth of the business, is we have a one-time fee for the registrars, which they do. Then Kenik is licensed under the registry framework, which there is an annual fee. But this is just to make sure that there is compliance from the registrars and also from the registry in terms of meeting the customer needs. If there is a complaint, then they'll be able to raise it up with the registrar. As a registrant, as Joe mentioned, you go to a registrar, you register a domain. If somebody else now sort of registers a similar domain, then you go to a registrar. The registrar who's done that, then if they're not able to resolve that, I'm talking about the .ke, then you can be able to go to the registry. If that is not done, then you can be able to come to the authority. This is all under the licensing conditions. So that is one aspect, the licensing framework. The second bit about users, maybe in terms of how they can report certain abuses in the DNS space. So we have various mechanisms from what we put in the public space. So we have our consumer and public consumer education and public affairs department that goes out and educates the public, saying you can report certain issues to the authority. This is just as a general user awareness, but as a specific case, then the authority has come up with we have the National Computer Incidents Response Team Coordination Center that is there to receive those kind of complaints, either through an email, through a phone call, walk-in. So, because we're talking about the DNS space today, then if you feel that one of those rights has been infringed, then you could be able to report to the center. But also, I think it's important because we are talking with I think our participants today are technical. There is also some other time a distinction between intellectual property, which does not fall within the purview of Communications Authority, but a different entity. I believe it's KIPI. Then there is the issue about now the domain abuse. Let's say you are cyber squatting. Clearly, this is something that falls within the authority. Say you are impersonating. There is impersonation. You are impersonating a person, a brand. Then that falls within the purview of the authority. Then there is identity theft. You're stealing somebody else's identity. Then that is still covered within the purview of the authority. But also, another issue that we usually get from users is because not knowing the difference between somebody cyber squatting and somebody just generally going about their business. Because what Kenik, I think, even will tell you, whoever is the registrar, sometimes they don't have control over the content that is on the site. So you have different sites. You have abc.com, abc.co.ke, but one of them is trying to copy the content replica and then using it on the site, then that does not fall within that. Then now that takes a different angle. But because we'll be here to engage with the participants, then we'll be able to get, we'll be able to respond to some of those issues. Maybe I can just share my screen to just show you, to just share the how to report some of these incidences.
Sure. Yes, please.
Let's do this. Go. So we can always receive an email or a phone call. Then we'll be able to address some of these issues that are DNS related. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, this is good. So let me ask, in regards to CA, what is the extent of security that they offer, the Kenyan people in terms of overall security? What does CA offer, especially with the KESAT? What should people, for the non-technical people, what should they know about the KESAT and how it actually protects them?
So the KESAT, let me just go back to, as the national KESAT, what we do, and what the most important thing, especially for the public, the non-technical people, is just awareness in terms of what are the threats that are there. A business receives an email of a spoof domain saying you need to pay, it's an SME, you need to pay, I've changed my bank account details, you need to pay bank X from since yesterday. Then that business, because of lack of that kind of knowledge, now they pay a different bank, and it goes to a scammer or just basically a cyber criminal. See, that kind of information needs to be there so that they can know if once they receive an email that is saying they've changed particulars of their bank account or any other sensitive business detail, they could be able to revert back without just actioning on that the request. Then they could be able to check back with whether their partners are using a different, the normal means, if it's either a letter or phone call saying, is this really true? Then the Kenyan public, most of the issues we usually get at the national KESAT is the Kenyan public is so much aware of social media, but cybersecurity goes past social media. But it's good because if people know cybersecurity from the social media bit, means the information is already there. then I think that is a good thing from us. Then the other thing is knowing how to report, because other issues that we deal with, let's say like there's child pornography on whatever platform they get, they could be able to share with us. Then, because the national case as it's set up, it's a multi-stakeholder, multi-agency setup. So as I said, multi-stakeholder, we engaged with Kenny in a multi-stakeholder approach. Then we also engage in a multi-agency approach. We engage with the law enforcement, whether it's the investigative agencies or the prosecution agencies. Then we'll be able to assist in terms of providing the technical assistance from our end. Then in terms of the issuing advisories, we work with the ISPs. So let's say ISP X is hosting a command and control. They don't know because one of their clients is maybe just they set up a box and they did not do much in terms of protecting it. Then it's now being used as a command and control to be able to reach out to ISP X saying this is being hosted on a platform, please take urgent action. So in terms of providing information on like cybersecurity incidences, there could be, let's say, a 0-day affecting most of the platforms that users are running. Let's say it's a Windows platform or a Windows Server platform, then we'll be able to reach out to the community saying this vulnerability came up and we really need to take action Y and action X so that we'll be able to mitigate against this. Then in terms of research and analysis, on a quarterly basis, we share statistics saying this kind of threat has gone up, this kind of threat has gone down. These are emerging trends. So you need to watch out so that if you can't measure, so you cannot take control of your environment. Just lastly, also just in terms of building capacity and awareness, we partner with the public, government agencies, the private agencies in terms of building capacity for the technical community through training, some of them certification training, awareness, campaigns, and also just participating in webinars like today so that we can be able to share and also learn from the community because we are not custodians of knowledge. Thank you, Judy, for giving me that.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Maybe you can get back to the slide, how people can report, just in case anybody needs to write that down. Yeah, thank you very much. That's very enlightening. With the CSAT, that's very, very intriguing to see what you guys are doing. From SAT now to data. This is where we have Alan. So Alan, we have, with the new Data Protection Act, we have a lot of security around data. We want to know, how do I know? I know people have had this issue of, my phone is hot or my laptop is acting up. I think I have been hacked, and there's no actual clear statements, that define what could show what are indicators of being compromised on your personal machine, on your personal device, or any other. So maybe you can enlighten the public or our attendees on, how do you know that your gadget is compromised? What are the key indicators of your gadget has been compromised? And also in terms of data, because there's a lot of digital transformation going on in companies where they're building apps, they're building web portals, and, all we are focused on as a country is just, access, but then there's so much data going in. Maybe you can also enlighten us on what data we should be sharing, or what data we should question while we are being asked to share. Yeah, let's start with the first one, Alan.
Okay, thank you, Judy, for that. First, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone. Again, the Luya and me, lazima nitume salams. So I see very many people that I know from the participants. I'm glad that you guys were able to join. On to the questions. So the first question was, how do you know if your device has been hacked? Well, there are lots of indicators of compromise, as you've mentioned, IOCs. The first thing is that your device becomes quite slow. You've noticed that apart from aging, maybe you've just bought a new device and it's very, very slow. It might be that something is running in the background that you do not know about. And how are you able to tell if something is happening in the background? So for those that are using Windows PCs, we have what is called the task manager. So you are able to run the task manager by pressing Control, Shift, and Escape. Then you go to the Processes tab. In the Processes tab, you'll be able to see all the processes that are running on your PC. So you'll be able to pick out those that are running and you don't know about, and those that are not. Then the second one is on your mobile devices, you're using more data than usual. How many times have we had cases where nimeweka bundles na zimeisha before nitumie? This has been because maybe an attacker might be using that information or that data to collect and share information. Dennis talked about what are called control CNC servers, command and control servers. So at times what they do, they are able to use your device to create what is called a botnet. A botnet is a collection of devices that are connected to a network and they act like zombies. So all they do is to execute certain commands. And in this case, you might not even know that your device has been added onto a botnet, but the usage of data might be one indicator. And again, for this, you can install Data Monitor. Actually, most of the ISPs and mobile network operators have inbuilt data monitoring tools. Your phone, if anyone is using an Android or an iOS device, it also has a data monitoring tool, and it's able to tell you which applications are using what kind of bandwidth. Then the other thing is, for example, when you're on the internet, videos load very slowly, or web pages take very, very long to load. And that might be maybe a DNS issue. And that's where Kenny comes into play, because you'd find that someone might be doing something called DNS spoofing. So in this case, instead of connecting to the correct website, they are redirecting your data to a different website. And that's why it is taking long, or it is taking a very long route to connect that same website. So with this, you can reach out to Kenny, who can assist you in the same. Also, on a personal level, you can install what is called the Cloudflare DNS service, which is an application where it routes all your traffic through the Cloudflare service. This is 1.1.1.1. So if you go onto whatever store it is, iOS or Android Play Store, and just search 1.1.1.1, it will give you an application and you can run that application. The advantage of running that application is that not only does it help you route your traffic through the Cloudflare DNS server, but also it acts as a virtual private network. Then another thing would be programs and applications crashing every so often. How many times do you turn on your phone and you get that error that system has stopped working, or Instagram is no longer working? There's a problem, yeah? It might be that is the application that has been infected. And by uninstalling that application, or in the worst case scenario, doing an overhaul. On the phone, you can do a flash. You flash your device so that you begin from scratch. It becomes a new device. On your PC, you can reinstall the operating system where it clears everything and you start afresh. The other thing is that you start seeing lots of pop-up ads. Nowadays, most companies are using pop-up ads to be able to propagate their products. But then most of the time, these ads are usually targeted. But at times, you find that there are ads that are not targeted at all. So you're playing your Candy Crush and you get an ad talking about something to do with slimming, and you don't even want to slim. You're very comfortable with your weight. So it might be because it's a malware that is running in your device and it's able to send out that information. And by clicking that ad, that's already enough to get you infected. Nowadays, malware comes in all forms, sorts, and the likes. It can be that document that someone sent to a WhatsApp group. Those links that people send free, Carrefour is giving free, nobody will give you anything for free. If anything is for free, then you're the commodity that is being sold. Then another thing is that finally is when you devices they keep on restarting. Every so often you You start your device, then it turns off and turns on again. Unfortunately, that's what most tech people will tell you. Is there a problem? Try turning it off and turning it on again. But then what if you're not the one who's initiated that restart? There might be something else that is initiating that restart. On PCs, we have things that are called rootkits and bootkits, which require that restart to be able to start running in the background. So to avoid such, again, is recommended that you have an up-to-date paid-for antivirus. Please do not install the free antiviruses. They are only doing you worse than good. Install a paid-for antivirus system on your devices. Then finally is unexplained online activity. How many times have you had cases where someone says that my Instagram account is sending messages to friends, or my Facebook account is sending messages to friends? And most of the time, those messages are not, they're not friendly messages. They are very weird messages. I don't want to go into the details. This might be because your passwords have been maybe breached and someone is using those passwords. And this actually is a segue into the second question, which was what data should I allow third parties to access online? So for example, most portals nowadays will request for a username and a password. But then you'd find that most people have the same password across the board. So you have the same password for Google and Facebook and so on and so forth. That is your single point of failure. You're supposed to not only have, nowadays we move from passwords to passphrases. A phrase is like a statement, not just a word. And if possible, use your mother tongue. Because when these attacks are happening, the most common attacks on passwords is called dictionary attack. So dictionary attack uses the common languages, English, Kiswahili, German, and so on and so forth. But very few of them would have the Kikuyu or Kalenjin dictionary. And also, you can use Sheng, for example, have a mixture of English, Sheng, and Kiswahili, and you'll be able to have stronger passwords. The second thing is to have multi-factor authentication, where you noticed sometime last year, and for a very long time, but last year, even Jack Dorsey, the owner of Twitter, his account was hacked. And it was purely because of his password. He hadn't enabled two-factor authentication. And after that, there was a great push by not only Twitter, but any other service that you're using to have multi-factor authentication. Another thing is kindly do not click on unsolicited links. Open unsolicited emails or attachments. What do I mean by this? Last week, and some of these are still running, we had the Black Friday offers. You have never shopped on Jumia, but then you still receive Jumia is offering you a free 10, maybe 100 shillings to buy something. Most of the time, yes, that might be a legitimate link, but at times it can be a spoofed link because attackers know that this time people have let their guards down because they're looking for the best deals. So unless you are able to verify that link comes from Jumia, that attachment comes from Jumia, please do not click on those links. So what kind of data should I share online? So just a brief of the third-party data is any information collected by an entity that does not have direct relationship with the user of the data that is being collected. So in this case, let's say, for example, I had my website. I have registered alan.me.ke with Kenik. And on my website, I maybe ask people to subscribe to get all my webinars. But then I collect information. What information do I collect? I collect your email addresses, I collect your phone numbers, and so on and so forth. That already makes me a third party or collector of data because I do not have direct access to that data. So ideally, what do you do to protect that data? One is that you can create an online persona that you can use to be targeted by most of these services. In this case, personally, I have an account that I use specifically for online purchases. It is linked to me. All the details are linked to me, but then I do not use that for my day-to-day engagements. Another way is for those who do online purchases, like most of us do. Instead of using your debit card that is linked directly to your bank account, you should use a prepaid credit card where you only load whatever needs to be used at that amount, at that moment. So for example, if I want to buy, for example, a refrigerator on Jumia and it costs 30,000. So instead of linking it to my bank account and it will debit the account, I can just send 30,000 to my account with maybe 10 or 30 shillings on top, which might be the transactional charges, and only have it at that point. So that if anyone is trying to access that card, then it will be empty. There won't be anything to collect. So that's another thing. Then finally, is to have a paid VPN service whenever you're trying to access such services. The advantage of having a paid VPN service is that, and I know most of us from the audience are streamers, people who are on Netflix and F movies and so on and so forth. At times you find that there is content on Netflix that is not in Kenya that you'd like to access. So I'll give an example. A while back, I wanted to watch The Office, but The Office US was not in Kenya yet. But if I connected to the US, I'll be able to watch Netflix. So the same way that I anonymize myself and pretend that I'm in the US is the same way that you'll be able to trick the attackers. So that, because these are the details that the attackers use whenever they want to access you. So they will check for unique identifiers being your IP address and so on and so forth. Since your IP address will now be linked to a different country, it will be very difficult for them to attack you. And then on a different note would be for children. I'm sure some of us already have children that maybe for one reason or another are connected to the internet. With this, Communication Authority, in conjunction with the KSAT and many others, have come up with a program called Be the COP, COP, Child Online Protection. For child online protection, there are very many things that you need to be able to do for your child to protect them online. Because remember, being underage, there are things that even they are not allowed to access online. So these controls are controls that you as a parent should be able to take. One of them is, as a parent, share minimum information about your children. I see lots of posts of parents who are sharing where the children go to school. They even share their time schedules. They share the live location, which if I was an attacker, I could use nefariously. I could just go to the school. I know the parent's name. I know the child's name. I know which school, and I know what time they leave. And I go and tell the administrator that I've been sent by so-and-so's parents to come and pick the child. In that case, you lose your child. And again, I don't want to go to the details. So try as much as possible to share minimum information about your children online. Photos, play activities. How many times do we share, even about ourselves, that I am currently at the waterfront, Karen, I'm enjoying the new features. Yet someone might have been waiting for you there, or someone might come and do something that is not good for you there. So those are some of the things. Then as we conclude, or rather as I conclude, the question would be, what happens in case an incident has already happened to you? Let's say someone has used your data or so on and so forth. There are very many channels that you could report to. First, you have to report to the police. Then you can also reach out to the KSAT, who can help, because as Dennis correctly mentioned, is that it is a multi-agency operation. So there are very many different people in the same place who can assist depending on what the problem is. We also have legal teams. I can see some of my friends here who've joined from the legal teams who are able to help in the legal processes if that is required. There are laws in place. What do I mean? There's the Kenya Data Privacy Act, which has a lot of details on how content should be shared online. There's the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. And finally, there's the ICT Act. So again, when we look at how to protect yourself online, we don't just look at tools, because most people will actually focus on tools, but we look at three major aspects, which are the people being you and I, the tools, the things that I mentioned, the antivirus, VPNs, and so on and so forth, and the processes. In this case, the processes is the law. We have the law on your side. Then finally is be proactive. Do not wait for an attack or for something to happen for you to start protecting yourself. I get this question every single day. Sasa watatoa nini kwa simu yangu? Mi sina anything ya kuficha. Yeah. Until something happens to you, then you start saying, hata ningejua tu, kenye uliniambia ningesikia. So tafadhali jichune masikio saizi and listen to what I'm saying. Protect yourself and be safe online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. That's very enlightening. And I think with that, I have a very specific question to you as well. In regards to protecting your data online. And now we have a lot of people working from home, and there's a lot of, when you're in the office, there are security controls that the IT or the security department would put in place so that you're not targeted within that network. But now that you're working from home, you have your kids using your laptop for online classes, and you have your husband or your wife still using the same office laptop. Maybe you can give 2 tips that would actually help protect your data at home or work information as well.
That's a very tricky question. It's a loaded question as well. Again, I think on the corporate side, most companies already put the required measures in place, which means that there's something called mobile device management. So in this case, if you're using your company PC at home, you can only access the company resources, and anything can only access company resources with the right privileges and access. So in this case, you'll have to connect through a VPN or something to access. Then that profile is separate from your personal profile. So ideally is to have 2 different profiles for the different personalities that you have. So again, the same way that when you're going to work, you're never the same person that you are at home. For me, people say at home, minimum wazimu, at work, I'm serious. Then you should also have the same demarcations when it comes to work and personal life. However, as a person as well, it's good to have that discipline, in that even while you're working, there are lots of distractions. Even right now, for example, I'm getting lots of WhatsApp notifications. Hey, nimekuona. So the idea is to have your own self-discipline so that you're able to separate the two. There are also applications that you could install that are able to maintain your concentration. That, for example, between this time and this time, I'm going to block all the social media related stuff unless they are work related. So for example, you have cases where you have a WhatsApp business account and you have your WhatsApp personal account. Yeah. So you can block the WhatsApp personal account, but then have the business account always running, because maybe you might be getting client requests and so on and so forth from the same. Another thing you could also do is definitely have separate devices. I wouldn't recommend that I let my son use my own PC for playing his games, because again, he might be the one who's going to click on the advertisements and it might compromise my work. So ideally, just invest. Usiogope, tumia pesa ikuzoe. Buy devices for the other people, for them to be able to use. And if they're underage, you can also set controls from your own device that, for example, they can only access certain websites, certain applications at certain periods of time, so that you have full accessibility, rather full control of what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That's very enlightening. And I think even the CA, the KSAT have some information about child online protection tips, and it's on their website, and it can help you as a parent as well to know, because our kids are not as cyber diverse as we are. So for them, it's just I want focus mind, I want to play this game. If an ad pops up, they open free iPhones. I think most of us have fallen for that. You go online and like, oh, you've won a free iPhone, and you click and you're waiting for your iPhone and nothing is happening, just weird files downloading. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Alan. I think to our next panelist, Hilary, the questions are around staying safe with mobile applications. And then Hilary, this is an area you're very conversant with. I know you have worked with a lot of mobile applications as well. So maybe you can enlighten our attendees in regards to what features somebody needs to be very much aware before they start installing mobile applications on their phone, and what threats do actually mobile apps give to its users that we are not aware of. What's happening in the background of the mobile applications as we are installing them?
Oh, thank you, Judy. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're good today now.
Today. Okay, so mine will be very short and hopefully sweet. So in regards to mobile application and how we're supposed to stay safe online through our mobile application, since we know everyone has a mobile application, most likely your sister, your brother who's like 10 years old, they probably have a mobile application they used to use, they watch Cocomelon with, all these kid stuff. So it's important for us to stay safe online. So from a mobile application perspective, we're going to go through from the initial point of where you actually install an application. If you want to use a mobile application, most likely you'll head to the Play Store to download it. And that's my first point. You have to install these mobile applications from trusted sources. If you're using an iOS, you have to download it from the App Store. If you're using maybe an Android device, you'd have to download it from the Play Store. Basically, you have to use the official sources for downloading this stuff. It's not so advisable for you to go and download an application that you probably heard of. You just Google any random link and just install any application from any link you see online. So that's a really bad idea because most of these applications, you don't know where they've been. Maybe someone else has downloaded the same application from the official Play Store or maybe the App Store. They've reverse engineered it, installed a couple of malwares to get you in any creative way they might find, and then they resign it and they post it to their site, which is probably not the official site. So most likely if you download this application, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting your phone at risk, and some malware might actually come your way. They might extort some data from you, and that's really not a good thing. The second point was do not install cracked applications. I know Kenyans and free things. We are personally, I'm also a fan of cheap and almost free things, and I will not advise that to anyone. So you guys, if an application is really good, if it's really helpful to you, if it actually helps you manage your life better, consider paying for it. Most of these applications are not usually that expensive. If an application is say anything less than $10, $15, maybe it's a one-off payment, just pay for it. Maybe you have an application that has so many ads. This developer went through a lot to create this application. Just watch the ads and proceed with your life. Just close, watch the 5-second ad, just proceed with your life. Don't just download a cracked application from any store. These third-party stores, you never know what these applications are coming with. Probably malware 90% of the time, and you might not know about it. Just because the phone is not overheating like a laptop, just because the phone is working okay, doesn't mean there's no malware at the back end doing some stuff. The other thing I would say is reviewing permissions on applications while you're installing them, because they usually ask you for these permissions at the beginning of the installation phase. So let's say you download an application, maybe you don't like your phone's default flashlight and you want to go and download another one that's probably more brighter, or maybe has a really good sexy UI, and you go to the Play Store and you find this Rihanna looking application and you're like, hey, this thing is so good. So I download this application. It's a flashlight application. I click install. Oh, And the application wants to access my camera. The application wants to access my phone book. The application wants to access my browser history. The application wants to access so many stuff. So that's a red flag. Why does the flashlight application want to access my phone book? Why does it want to access my camera? It's only using the flashlight. So these are stuff you need to look out for. So this clearly means something is going on behind the hood or in the back end. So they're using these services to maybe exfiltrate data from your phone. Maybe they're trying to access your camera. They're trying to access your file manager so that they can actually upload stuff.
You muted yourself, Hilary.
Sorry?
And now you're good.
Oh, okay. Probably an issue. So the other one was choose application from trusted developers. So this is not the same as choosing a trusted source of installing the applications like the official Play Store, but trusted developers. Say I'm going to be using the Play Store a lot because I use an Android phone. Jomoka that much to use an iPhone. So say you go to the Play Store and then you have an application. Say you want to download a password manager. Most likely you're going to see a couple of options. Maybe they're going to find like 20 different password managers, and you're going to go through them and you're going to see different ratings. You're going to see different developers. So you need to choose a developer. It might be a single person who developed it or a company. So you need to go through all the developers and try and find out which developer is trusted. So maybe this application is from a specific developer, and you go and Google that developer, check the reviews for the developer. This guy has some really good applications. So that's another point. If this guy is good, he's trusted, many people have rated this developer highly, that means the application he builds or they as a company build are trusted and they work as efficiently as they're supposed to. Another thing I'll do is check the rating and the user reviews. So if you're going maybe to a store, maybe the Play Store again, and you want to download an application, you just don't go and download the first application you see there. So you go through the reviews. Okay, this application has 2 stars, and you go through the comments. No, this application hangs. No, I noticed some weird behavior when I install these applications. They say the best way of learning is through the mistakes of others. So if you want to learn something, you learn through the mistakes of others, so you don't do the mistakes yourself. That's the best way of learning. And in this case, you have to go through the reviews, go through the star ratings. If users are saying this application is bad, this application hangs so oftenly, this application does not work with a specific version of Android or breaks at some maybe when you're invoking some activities, when you're clicking this link, it breaks, it just stops working for some reason. So that's it's probably not a security review, but a user review. That means the application is not so good. And also the security reviews. Mind you, there's the user reviews and there's the security reviews. So for the security reviews, you have to go and actually research for yourself in all these security forums. So also take note of forums, not just the application store. As we all know, things usually happen, and some sneaky malware might find its way into an actual application store. Google is not new to this. iOS is not new to this. Applications have been verified. They've passed security checks, but they're actually malware. So this is not the primary source of checking for this stuff. You can also go to forums like the XDA forum and actually check out the security reviews for this application. Probably not a security issue, but I will say delete unused apps. If you have an app on your phone, and probably this is just a measure of just being a bit paranoid. So if you have an application you've never used in like probably 10 months and it's still there, just delete it. Just paranoia, but still works. So another one will be installing application security solutions. So we all know things happen in the background, under the hood, things happen. Some malwares might find their way you might try to be as secure as possible, but somehow.
Hilary, we've lost you again.
Yeah. Somebody just tried to call me again. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so a good solution would be installing a good software, meaning security solution like these suits like Kaspersky. They have some really good internet solutions for mobile phones. We have stuff like Avast is really good as well. I've seen it catch a lot of malwares that are embedded in mobile applications. ESET as well, their security solution is also good. So they help you stay safe online when browsing the internet. So when you're downloading something, the moment you are installing it, they scan the APKs for the packages for some malwares. And I've actually tried a couple of them. And weirdly, Avast is very free and it actually catches a lot of these malwares. Another one I will actually touch on is keeping your applications up to date. So there's a reason this application usually have updates, periodic updates. You go to Play Store and they're saying, okay, your application is outdated. There's another version that's available. Kindly update. They're not trying to waste your time. They're actually trying to keep you safe. So these things are actually good to do. Just go to the App Store. You don't just choose maybe one application you want to update, just choose all, because we all know there are different types of updates. The normal function update where the developers have introduced a new function, maybe upgrades where there are specific services that they have that they are making better. And we also have the security updates that are usually pushed occasionally. So install the application, you never know what update you're installing. Might be a specific 0-day that came, but that was released, and these guys are trying to protect you as an endpoint user. So that's something to also keep in mind. And the other thing is in regards to the general internet as a whole, but whatever you're doing online, use multi-factor authentication. This does not relate specifically to mobile applications, but one of the multi-factor authentication is where you have a secondary step or a secondary layer of security, where maybe say you're trying to access a specific website and maybe you have a weak password, and probably an attacker manages to get your password and they log in. So they have to go through this second layer of security, which would be probably an SMS sent to your mobile application, or maybe the Google Authenticator. That's why I included this point here. So most probably you're going to use that as a secondary source of, as a secondary layer of security in case people trying to hack your account. And I think for that was everything in regards to mobile applications. I was supposed to discuss a couple of stuff, mobile applications and general online security, but I think Alan has really touched on a lot. Alan has really talked on so much. So I don't know if I'm supposed to touch on something, maybe he might have left out one or two things.
Yeah, I think yeah, both of you did very well on elaborating. And in case anybody has any more follow-up questions in regards to mobile security, we can find Hilary on Twitter or LinkedIn, and the rest of our panelists as well. We can find them, and I know we are streaming on Facebook as well. So I think some of them are on Facebook, and you can follow up on I think there's a lot that we can cover in regards to mobile security. Apps themselves, the phone itself, the network around it, the permissions themselves. And it's very interesting that you mentioned that, touch thing, because that has happened where the touch needed access to my phone book. Like, okay, cool. Oh, you want to call people or what? Yeah, so that was very interesting. Yeah, so thank you very much, Hilary, on that regard as well. Maybe you can also help our guys who, for this makes a lot of sense for grown-ups. I can check You know, if I'm technical or non-technical, I can check the reviews. I can check, you know, the developer. I can check, make sure I download from Play Store. But then, you know, we have parents who, you know, the phone is the only way to distract your kid when you're in the middle of something, and they will go and download that game, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Maybe you can also give tips, maybe two, make it short, two, on how parents can make sure, you know, there's phone security for their kids. There are measures they can put in place. Are there protocols that, you know, make sure that they don't just download anything from the web? I think we have that problem.
Oh yeah, like Alan said, for the endpoint device management. So we have these policies where you can actually restrict. You can actually create different profiles. Not as Alan mentioned, maybe a work profile and a home profile. So you can actually do the same for a kid's profile and maybe a general profile, where you can actually, phones these days usually have a way of creating the different profiles. But maybe if you're giving your phone to your kids, you can actually create a profile for them where different stuff are usually restricted when you're on a kid's profile. Maybe you can restrict maybe things like access to specific sites, but it's usually kind of a tough thing because you can actually allow them to download maybe kid stuff, but these malwares are embedded in all this kid stuff. Maybe it's a game these kids are trying to download, Candy Crush, maybe they don't know how to use Play Store properly. You might limit them to specific sources you think are safe, but malware might just find its way through. So what I would really advise for that is just having a good anti-malware solution that might catch these things, maybe like the pop-ups, disable those pop-ups, scan for the malware once you're installing them, scan for malware once you're trying to run them, and check for the background activity. And the other one is a bit technical, where you can actually try to revoke specific sites. Maybe there's a list of, you have a list of specific sites that are usually, these applications usually trying to communicate with. So that is usually at a network level, where on your router, you can actually block specific outbound traffic from actually being accessed from this specific device. So in this case, you're actually blocking a device from accessing specific restricted content, maybe these porn sites that the applications may be trying to run and stuff like that. So it's usually a tricky scenario, but I think those are the best ways you can try to do that, creating a different profile for the kids and blocking access to these specific dirty or unsafe sites.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Hilary. That was very, very good. We're gonna jump straight to the questions from our audience. Linda had asked, are cookies safe to accept? That's a very good question, Linda, actually, because there's a lot of apps nowadays just asking you to accept all cookies. And I see that Alan has answered that question in the chat. I'm going to read it out either way. So hi, Linda, if you like to maintain some sort of privacy, never accept all cookies. Take time and look at what they are. If you do not understand, do not accept cookies or only accept the basic cookies. Yeah, I think we've seen this meme going around of, I don't know which of our governor just signing a document, the Nairobi. And it's like the meme was like, you know, accepting all cookies when you don't know what these cookies are all about. And I was like, that's a very good use case. You know, we don't know what the cookies are. Most of us just click on them because you just want to proceed to the next step, or that pop-up is really, really annoying. But I think Alan has answered that question very, very well in regards to, you know, the never accept all cookies, or if you want to accept, take time and look at what they are. If you do not understand, do not accept cookies or only accept the basic cookies. Yeah. So Alan wants to add something in that regard as well.
Thank you. So on the issue of cookies, I've had this a lot, and what Judy has said is very true. Kindly do not accept cookies. Most websites will actually give you the option to choose, because we currently have different regulations around the world. And One of them being the Kenya Data Privacy Act, which we are currently promulgating. And then there's the most common one is called GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. And if you, for example, have that VPN, the best place to always connect from is a European country. Because with the European country, they are forced to actually tell you what the cookies are. And I've noticed that, especially if I'm connecting from a European country, that the cookie, that thing, that pop-up usually is more detailed than even in any other country. So that shows you that just from the regulations point of view, even countries have seen that companies are now collecting a lot of information, even information that they should not be collecting, and they're using it nefariously for whatever reason. Some of them are using it well because it can actually be used to create an online persona that only a unique identifier for you, but then that can also be misused by attackers when they pose to be that website, they pose to be Amazon, they pose to be a certain hotel. I have a specific example of a client that I worked with a couple of years back, which was a hotel. And attackers went and spoofed their site. It was a Kenyan hotel. Attackers went and spoofed their site, and guys were now booking fake rooms. So this guy has booked from a room from the US. He comes to Kenya for his holiday and gets to the hotel and he's told that nothing of the sort has happened. We don't have any booking. And he's already paid. And some of this was based on the cookies that they had clicked on a different website. So I can see just quickly before I leave, I see someone has asked, what are cookies? So cookies are small, they are pop-ups usually when you log into a website for the very first time. At times, even every single time you log or access a certain website, they collect some information about you that website can use in future. But this information is not only shared with that website, but any other affiliated website. Let me give an example. You find on websites you have the link to Facebook. Yeah, that is a cookie. Or like Instagram, it's my website, alan.me.ke, but then I have the like button, which redirects you to Facebook. Or I have the LinkedIn button that redirects you back to LinkedIn. Those are examples of cookies. There are very many different types of cookies. I can't go into all the details right now, but that's one of the ways that you're able to identify. So while you're setting up, again, not really setting up, but when you're accessing a website, try as much as possible to be sure that you really want that website to collect that information. It's just like the same way we're talking about the applications. Why should a flashlight application be requesting for your phone book in your messages? We've had cases, again, of those cookies being misused in one way or another.
Thank you very much, Alan. That was very good. Our next question, I think this was directed directly to Joe Marwa from Kenik. How is KYC undertaken by registrars for registrants to prevent abuse? It's actually a very good question. I had the same question. So, Joe?
Thank you, Linda. I believe, just for clarity's sake, KYC can be defined in so many ways. I believe you're referring to know your customer. I believe so, just so I can answer the question in the right context. Dennis?
It came from Dennis, yeah. Dennis, maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, KYC is know your customer.
Okay. All right. So as Kenik, basically, as I mentioned, regarding who is, we actually been running a campaign to registrars, and we have our customer care department that actually interacts with registrars and registrants directly to ensure that they have the right who's, and also that to sensitize them in terms of how to secure their domains on their website. There are various aspects around how you can secure your since the registrar is one who builds and provides hosting for the registrant, we encourage them to implement security features like what we call DNS security. Also ensure that the website has SSL certificates, because we have, you've all seen cases of a lot of websites, even government websites that are not running on SSL certificates. So we ensure and encourage them to have SSL certificates, and I know the registrars will charge for that service. But to the registrants and the attendees here, just if your registrar is trying to bill you for as part of the package, yes, but in case you do not have the financial muscle, you can always tell them to opt for what you call Alex Encrypt SSL certificate to secure the website. And also to build on top of what Alan and Hilary have said, just ensure that if you are the owner of the domain, or if you're visiting a website, there's always a padlock on the left, on the URL bar on the left side. Just check if there's a padlock. That is how you know whether the particular website is secure as you're visiting. But yes, we have tried to solidify the relationship between our registrars and registrants, and ensuring that registrants know their rights and know what kind of service they're being offered by the registrar.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. That's good. Can I also ask in regards to how do you ensure, I know Kenik doesn't sell domain directly to clients, they sell through the registrars. How do you guys ensure that registrars are, creating security for your customers in regards to security, overall security for your customers? Because these are your customers.
Yes, we have what we call a DNSSEC, and at the registrar, at the registry level, we've implemented DNSSEC for all domain zones, so the extensions. And what we do, we've been doing trainings for registrars to train them on how to implement DNSSEC. At the same time, we just normally do webinars and meetings with the registrars to try and sensitize them on how to assist their registrars' domains and websites to secure them. Because basic things like SSL certificates, DNSSEC, implementing what we call DNS over HTTPS, DNS over SSL, DNS over SSL, and all that. So part of the training of our registrars is just to engage them in how they can better protect the registrars and how they can better protect the hosting panels that they do. And also basic things like email security at the name server level, that where the registrars are managing, they can implement security protocols like there's a DKIM, there's a SPF, and there are various protocols that registrars need to implement at the DNS level to secure their emails, their registrars' emails and domains.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Joe. We have next question. I think this was directed to Hilary. There are some malware apps that are available, and in the event of trying to validate by checking for reviews, you find the owners probably have created pseudo accounts to give good reviews about the app, which can be misleading. How can we go about this? And I know you have some scenarios as well in your mind.
Oh yeah. So if the app has been there for a while, okay. For starters, just scan the app using a security solution, as I said. That's not all. Also, throw it in an actual security solution for maybe on a Windows PC or something. They might actually get them. Products like Kaspersky, the endpoint solutions for PCs do magic as well. Apart from that, you can also scan it on VirusTotal. Maybe the signatures are available online. Maybe someone gave it out at some point, or maybe it was scanned at some point and the signatures are online. So you can visit VirusTotal and upload the application, maybe it's the APK there, and try and see if it has some good reviews, or maybe it some since VirusTotal uses a couple of anti-malware engines. So probably one of them has actually captured the signatures and can actually tell you if it's a malware or not. So yeah, can it use some anti-malware solutions, both on the mobile application, on a PC solution, and on a VirusTotal as well.
Mute, yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I hope for attendee, anonymous attendee, I hope that answered the question. You know, how can we go about that? Does Play Store allow uploads of malwares on apps? So when you're uploading your app, will Play Store actually allow you to upload that app?
No, it's supposed to flag it. It's supposed to flag it, but the people are becoming way better and more stealthier. So very few apps actually make it to the Play Store with actual malwares embedded in them.
Yeah, okay.
But they're supposed to flag any basic, using a basic without any evasion mechanism, a basic application is supposed to have tried it, and it's supposed to flag it. It's not supposed to actually upload.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And you have a scenario of an online, something happened about online security?
Sorry?
You had something about what happened recently on.
Oh yeah. I was to give an example of something. Did you guys see the tweet where Mike Sonko posted on Twitter saying watu wangu saseni having a cold drink somewhere along somewhere and hatuambii ni wapi for security reasons. So basically in English, the guy was having some cold drink somewhere, but he wasn't telling the public because of security reasons. So it was a video that he posted on Twitter, and the guys OSINT game have really improved. Guys OSINT game is really on point. So it was a video. He had the phone here and then he was shooting it like this. So someone posted the video and there was a Lipa na M-Pesa till number in the background. So this guy went on using the M-Pesa application. They input the till number and sent like 0 shillings. I think they tried with 1 bob. And it showed the Ashaki Grill. The place was actually Ashaki Grill and Barbecue. That was somewhere along some road, I don't remember. So this was an example of things you post online. You think, I'm very secure, but someone will find something at some point and they'll be very creative about it and they'll actually use it against you. So it was for security reasons, he wasn't posting it where the actual place, but guys were really clever and actually did a whole thread on OSINT online on that Twitter thread, and they exposed him, showing where he was.
All right. Thank you very much, Hilary. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I see this very much when people are trying to find out the owners of whose phone number it is, and they try to send M-Pesa messages. They try to send 1 shilling, and before you actually send, it shows the actual name. It's like, this is a very interesting way to do OSINT. Yeah, it's the purpose of it was good, but it's being used for the worst, which is the world we live in right now. So we can't do anything about it. So thank you very much. Yeah, and also Dennis had also given some insights on the same. I could say go with your gut feeling if you're in doubt about the app. Yeah, that always go with your gut feeling as well. So thank you very much. There was another question. I think this was to Marwa. If someone bids for multiple domain names in the ongoing auction, let's say 20 domains, are they allowed to be the single owner of all these domains if they win the bid?
Thank you for that question. And maybe just for the sake of the participants, Kenik is currently running an auction on .ke domains. The .ke extension, not .co.ke or .ke. It's a second level domain, and it's just .ke. An example is like Nike. Nike is ni.ke or Mike. So go to our domain auction platform and you can bid or purchase a domain there. So to answer your question, yes, you can actually bid for even more than 20 domains. As Kenny, we do not have any restrictions in terms of the number of domains you can own. So you can own even 500 domains if you wanted. So even as you go to the bidding platform and you purchase a domain, or if you want to go directly to the registrar and purchase a domain, we do not have any restrictions in terms of the number of domains you can have. The only restriction we have is for specific kind of domains, and we restrict them, and you can, even if you search for them, they're not available. Domains that maybe have vulgar words or political, or basically do not have the malicious in the nature. So those ones we restrict. But in terms of the number of domains that you can own, we do not have any restrictions or policies against it as Kenya.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Joe. That's good to know. I think I'll come and bid for around 50. Let's see. Okay, so the next question is from Felix, and I think I will direct this to CA. So Dennis from CA. Registrars required to do data protection impact assessment, considering they process data containing personal information. And yes, it does hit around KENIC, but I think as regulators, CA, do you guys actually ask registrars or registrants or KENIC itself to be able to provide some data protection impact assessments before they are validated as registrants? Or what is it that you helping the general public in terms of, yes, I can register, the business is more focused on us reselling domains, but then what is it that the regulators are saying in terms of protecting data, protecting customer data while we are using these registrars?
Thank you, Judy. And I think just take a swipe at it here, but I think I heard Alan mention that actually the government is in the process of operationalizing and putting in place the instruments of making the Data Protection Act come into force. So some of those requirements at the moment I don't think are there, and as the regulator we are not really, we'll just follow the regulations and the guidelines that will be issued by the Data Protection Office, the Data Commissioner's Office, and also just to make sure that, I think everybody else, you either be if you'll be handling customer data, then it will be able, but at this moment, I don't think that is a requirement, but once they come into force, even ourselves, I think we'll have to comply.
All right, and we did see this is back to you, Dennis. We did see this when you do on ICANN, when you do a WHOIS checkup, before you could see the registrar's phone number, email, but now when you do a WHOIS, some of this data is hidden. Is there a specific reason? Was it in regard to, also rolling out the Data Protection Act, or was this purposeful? We don't know what happened.
So this was as a result of the GDPR, and that is why some of those data had to be taken out. And I think the best person even to just shed light more is Joe, because also it's demo based on that now. They are now implementing similar measures. Okay, just taking a step ahead in preparation for the data protection.
Okay, so when should we expect? I don't know. Also, before you go, in regards to the Data Protection Act, what are the key indicators, or what are the key things that you guys are focusing on really for us as a country?
Sorry, I wouldn't want to mislead the participants. I'm not a subject area. I'm not a subject matter expert in that area, and I think there's usually I think a misconception between the Data Commissioner's Office, which was hosted at our building, and whose mandate is now to look at all those issues. Because now even us, as I mentioned earlier, would be subject to that, and I think would be okay. We are stakeholders in terms of in the processes, but also mostly I think the data protection, having a data protection officer, is sort of leaning towards the legal side and not the technical side. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So Joe, you had something to add on the same?
Yes, regarding the data policy. We actually have a policy that we are about to release. It's still under review. It's called the Data and Information Sharing Policy. You asked about why the WHOIS is restricting some information. Those are guidelines by the GDPR. The reason why we do that is to secure the owner of the domain, the WHOIS information about it. I just mentioned that we're in the process of actually releasing a policy regarding data and information sharing for KENIC. So ideally, it will provide guidelines as to how you can ask KENIC for contact information about a specific domain. And we've had scenarios where we get an instruction from the DCI office to even shut down a website or to just shut down the domain altogether. So the policy is going to clearly outline the guidelines on how to handle such situations, because we work closely with the KESA team, especially when any report is reported to us or any instruction is given to us from the DCI office or even from the police to shut down a domain. So we just want to provide proper guidelines on how to handle it. And we are approaching the political season, so I'm sure there are going to be domains and websites that are going to come up with malicious intent or whatever. So we are working very hard to release the policy as soon as possible.
Okay. All right, that's good to hear. So guys, I hope you've heard that there's a new policy coming up from KE. So in regards to domain distribution. And I like the approach when you guys did with hiding user information when somebody goes and searches for a domain name on WHOIS. So that's good. So thank you very much, Joe. So we are winding up. We've gone over past time. And I just wanted to direct the last question to Dennis as he winds up, and then we can finish with the last statement from our panelists. How do you guys handle a malware distribution in the country? Is it part of the KE SAT? Do you guys monitor activities on this, or just let us know how you guys handle malware distribution?
Okay, so what we do is actively, as being proactive, because so we monitor, those, if you're hosting malware, and maybe because most of the malware are not hosted on like corporate platforms, they are hosted on home PCs, and also they are hosted on like maybe other devices. So what we do is we actively monitor those, and if it belongs to ISPX, then we'll be able on a sort of a mostly a regular basis, let me not say daily, then we share this with the ISP saying this particular IP or this particular domain is hosting malware, then they'll be able to take it down. And if, because some of these, like we discussed earlier, bot activities, they bot down. And what is the cause of this is most of the devices that we have basically like basic hygiene. There is no software updates, there is no antivirus installed. So, and the good thing about it is when we get the really like the case we had that is prominent is the Emotet, then that one really affects now corporate platforms. And I think we get that once in a while, but on a daily basis, we get, the ones that are affecting users, but still we have to take action.
Okay, there's one more last question to you, Dennis. What is KE SAT? Oh, we should have started with this. Dennis.
Sorry, and I think it's usually a mouthful even for ourselves. It's the Kenya Computer Incidents Response Team. So it's Kenya Computer Incidents Response Team. So I think earlier I'd put that screen up for users to get the participants to get the email address they can send report incidents to. Then we'll be able to respond.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate this was a very, very interactive, very good, a lot of information shared. So thank you very much. As we wind up, we'd like last words from our panelists. Then we can close up the session and hope to see you on the next one. Let's start with Hillary. Just last words as we close up. Hillary. Okay. As we wait for Hillary, let's go to Alan.
So thank you very much for making time for those who've been able to join. I'd like to thank you, Kenik, for the opportunity for us to share this information. As I close, I just want to reiterate that there's a lot of information out there. Reach out to us if you require any further information. I run a user awareness and training arm where we talk to the general public with regards to their safety online, how they're able to be more proactive as opposed to being reactive. So feel free to reach out to me on any of the socials, and we will be able to assist. In case you have any incident that has happened, our company offers cybersecurity solutions, products and services, trainings as well with regards to the same. We also offer forensic investigations in case something has happened to your phone, but don't call us to investigate your girlfriend or your boyfriend, because we don't do that. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you for making it very clear on that, Alan. I think that's that's a biggest. If somebody was actually selling those services, they would have a lot of traffic coming their way. So thanks for the clarification. I'm very, very glad to have met you, and amazing panel discussion. Next, Dennis.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you for the good moderation during today's session. And also thanking the other panelists for sharing this knowledge. And like I mentioned earlier, we are always here to share what we know and share also learn from the other panelists and participants. Just on a personal note is what we've come to realize that the case that is a lot of youth are also in the business of, let's say what we could say is influencers locally, internationally. And so social media has become like a digital asset. That's what they earn their livelihoods from. So what I could just say is for them to, avoid getting into situations that they violate community principles so that they are taken offline. Another one is not securing their accounts, setting up multi-factor authentication, sharing it with other, maybe if they are managers or other friends so that they can use those accounts. Because that is where they earn their livelihood. And if there is anything that the influencers could do is help in terms of pushing, educating the public, because they have a big following in terms of like child online protection. How do you secure, like what we were just talking about, basic hygiene and all that? Because creating awareness is, personally, if I was to try to do this, it will be really boring because of my background and personality. But if they do it, then we'll be able to push this information to the masses. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dennis. That was good. I might have to hook you up and just find a lot. I want to know about a bit more about the KESAT and what it does. So thank you very much. Also to inform the participants, the recording will be shared to you directly. And if you can access it, I think on Facebook, or the team will actually directly share the recording with you. So just in case you have any questions. Then for the next person, I would like to finish with Joe. So I don't know, Hilary, can we hear last word from you?
Just a word of thank you for letting me take this opportunity to present. It's been a while since I presented, since I appeared online on camera. And I thank you guys for this. I've learned a lot about CA. I've learned a lot about Kenik. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hilary. We hope to have you on the next one as well.
Hopefully it will be longer.
It will be longer. This took 2 hours, 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Hilary, as well, for joining us. The last panelist, Joe, any last words?
Yes, thank you, Judy. And I wish to thank all the attendees who are able to spare some 2 hours. And I know we're the ones who are standing between you and lunch, so I'll make it short and sweet. There are three components of security, basically. We have the people, we have the processes, and we have the tools, as Alan had mentioned. And just to reiterate, out of the three elements of security, the people, processes, and the tools, the devices that we use, the weakest link is the people link. The weakest link out of the three is the people link, because devices will work and will run the code as it's supposed to, but as people are the ones who actually create the security vulnerabilities for ourselves. So I'd like you to, that would be my parting shot. And to go back to your initial question, I think the most dangerous thing I've done in the past 2 years is the milk crate challenge.
The what?
The milk crate challenge.
Oh, you did it. Oh, wow. Okay. Did you fall?
And failed miserably.
That's fine. Don't worry. We are one of the many. Thank you very much, Joe. I think we've heard so much about Kenik that we didn't know today. I worked at Kenik at some point, and I realized there's so much that has gone into building security into the company. So that's very, very good. Thank you so much, and thank you, Kenik and East Council, for help being part of this process as well. We wish to say asante sana, and we hope you can have us next time. Alan, you are raising your hand.
You've put us through the wire. We also want to know what was the most dangerous thing you've done.
Okay. So apart from the COVID vaccine, I am wow. No. Oh, wow. I don't have one in mind. I don't know why I'm being put on the spot.
You see, it's not that easy.
Okay. Let's see. I did bungee jumping this year in South Africa. So that was good. Yeah. So that's the most dangerous thing I did. I'm never doing it again. So thank you very much for putting me on the spot, Alan. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate the time. You get the recording. If you want to reach out to any of our panelists, they are available. I think Kenik will share that to you as well. And we hope to see you. Asante sana, and have a good lunch break and a Friday evening. Bye.
Bye.
My name is Jackie Njue of Black's Nails Parlor. We are a dedicated nail salon business based in Nairobi, Kenya. And we specialize in nails, that is manicures and pedicures for both ladies and gents. And we started business a while back, that is in 2014. The reason why we chose a .ke domain name for our business, first, it's because we felt like it's the easiest way to say we are a Kenyan brand without having to shout. We felt like we needed that online presence, especially in this digital era. Thirdly, it's the security that comes with a .ke domain name, that is protection from cyber crimes and cyber threats. Our online business is a success because potential clients are able to access us easily from wherever they are, and repeat clients are able to book their appointments remotely, and also clients are able to buy our products from our website, which is www.blacksnails.co.ke. And we are happy.
Welcome to SwitchLink Africa. My name is Steve Dimba. I'm the Deputy General Manager in charge of Africa. At SwitchLink Africa, we pride ourselves in providing payment systems. Majorly, we focus on electronic payment, financial processing, and services related to in that particular ecosystem. When we onboard, we bring a business, we sign up a business onto our platform, our core interest is to bring the best of the hidden gem of that business out. What we mean by that is we be able to amalgamate all payment processing into one platform. In this regard, the business owner will be able to get analytics of the business angle that he or she could never thought of. As our name suggests, SwitchLink Africa, we are an Africa entity, Kenyan born. And as Africans, we pride ourselves in our history and our cradle land. By just by that aspect, Kenya is our home. And .ke provides that aspect where people will be able to know where we originate from. We are a global facing company. So that means we have partners in the whole globe. And for them to identify where we come from, .ke ticked for us. Having a .ke domain, it puts us top in any search engine outside in the world. So when somebody wants to check anything Africa, something that has .ke narrows it down to Kenya. So if somebody wants to check payment processors in Africa, by having a .ke, it gives you a top. And that gives us an edge over our competitors. We pride ourselves in our heritage, and .ke came in handy for us to be able to accomplish that particular mantra. And we're happy about it.